So pitches are 10 minutes each. I really want to discourage you from rushing through this. Use every minute available. And then hopefully we have a nice lively discussion. The boot camp is a very intensive experience. It's a highly structured experience. The students do a series of 11 assignments in 5 days in which students are introduced to almost every dimension of the documentary process. Sound recording, camera, lighting, finding your subject, finding a story, editing, and finding a story through the process of editing.
The project that we have in mind is entitled Projection, a love letter to the Kinoton. The Kinoton, as you know, is the old school reel projector. And we are actually beginning to do this in digital at a time when film projection is going away.
So I took the boot camp. It was really good experience because we actually did about 2 shoots every day. There was a lot of hands-on learning and a lot of critique, which was really important. So it was good, it was fun, it was active with all of those shoots.
It looked much better when the broad side of the face, the side of the face that is more exposed to the camera, actually was less exposed.
This documentary camera course is a really intensive 1-week workshop, and we try and throw a lot at the students. On a day like today, when we discuss lighting, we went through a lot of the nitty-gritty details, the terminology, the essentials to understanding how to do, available light interviews and also 3-point lighting. And then we set them to tasks to do their own interviews.
Sit more straight, but still look slightly towards this direction. Yeah.
Like that? Am I still looking this direction?
Through my years at Boston Film Video Foundation, I got to know many of the documentary practitioners, and the kind of quality that you get from these practitioners in terms of their work and who they are as teachers should be accessible to people outside of regularly matriculated programs. And the fact that Boston is so unique in the kind of breadth of that resource, it seems like it's almost in part a responsibility to make that sort of programming available to the public.
This is our final volume. We did a test with each person. My intention is to give the students a week of immersive sound education, some in pre-production, some in production, and some editing tips for sound, as well as some post-production.
Now we have nothing, so give her something healthy. Hello, Marion. What? Got a grouch on your honeymoon? That's a bad sign, Marion.
No, I haven't got any grouch. Don't you worry. You're the only grouch I ever had.
My forte is sound, but I'm learning new programs from the ground up. Also learning how my work as a sound engineer connects to the visual using the software that all these different directors and producers are using, so I understand better what I need to deliver to them.
Let's cut here. Let's cut. In the heat of performance, people tend to speak up, which is great. Well, sound is a difficult factor. You can't see it, and you can't touch it. Our ears are always open. We can't ever close them, and our mind blocks out certain parts of sound, which microphones hear all the time. We are done. We've captured it. What I'm trying to teach you are how to get to the elements that are important and to put those into your production and to filter out or avoid the elements that are naturally there but we already block out.
This class is looking at both the mechanics of editing and the technique, and also the bigger picture of conceptual issues of what makes a great editor. So we've been watching examples of great works in the class, short films and feature films, breaking them down, looking at the structure, looking at the pulls in the story, the kind of valences of a story, and how do you kind of map that out? How do you graph the change or the arc of a film?
Just in terms of the audio of what's going on, what are you guys hearing? There's a long, right, obviously this is very slow tracking shot, and she's sitting at the end writing in her journal.
Half of me denies this is happening. I look up and around and think.
They put on reverb, right? Okay, so they put on reverb. It's a memory. It's Jason's lost inside. You know, there's a lot of metaphorical stuff. It creates an emotional thing of distance. There's all these things going on with that reverb, and that's you know, you don't usually add reverb to voices.
More than just getting all the technical knowledge, I've gained like a community of filmmakers in the Boston area. The faculty are incredible mentors.
I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of how does an editor think about music. How do you
talking about like what it takes to be an independent filmmaker, and how do you finance your films, and how do you think about it, how do you work with an editor, or how do you become an editor on someone else's projects. You know, I think all of that really plays out nicely in this kind of setting with people who are changing careers or just getting started in filmmaking.
The faculty are all independent filmmakers. They all are committed to a practice which is incredibly difficult to maintain in terms of raising money and pursuing individual projects and getting them done and out into the world. So I think the real life lessons are learned through really working side by side with these kinds of filmmakers. And it brings a kind of an understanding of what it takes to do this kind of work.
The students that I've met, my classmates, are an incredible resource. And I've already paired up through one of my classes with a colleague, and we're making a micro-documentary together. This sort of community network normally takes years to develop. But I feel like because of the courses that I've taken at MassArt, that I've already have sort of a strong community to work with.